Good evening. A couple quick thank yous before we get going. I want to thank Mrs. Muster for all of her help during the winter, Mr. E., Lance, Andy, and Morris for all their hard work with our athletes and in the athletic center. Also want to thank Danny Ritten for the video you're about to watch, and Mrs. Henderson for the letters and awards you're about to receive. After the video that we'll see now, Coach Williams will be up to make some remarks about basketball. Thank you.
One heart spoken team. Good evening. First, I would like to thank the varsity basketball players for their hard work and dedication to the program throughout the season. I would like to thank senior Brendan Crawford and junior Micah Tillman for their leadership on and off the court as captains of our program. I would like to thank the parents for their support of our program and giving me the opportunity to coach their sons throughout this season, and in some cases for the last 3 seasons. And I would finally like to thank Coach Rosati and Coach Muffley for their leadership of our freshman team, Coach Stanford for working with our JV players this year, and also Coach Bowers for being my assistant coach and pretty much putting up with me for the entire season. I appreciate your hard work and dedication to our guys as well. I would like to lastly say thank you to our seniors. I wish them nothing but the best and good luck in their next chapters in their journeys. Guys, please understand, if you ever need something from me, please give me a call. I'm always here to help you guys. We had some exciting highlights this year, starting with our home opener against Lawrenceville Prep. After a 4-point loss to the Petty School tournament, to Petty at their tournament, we turned around the next morning, defeated Lake Forest Academy for the 3rd place trophy in the Petty School tournament. After winter break, we returned home to defeat ISA in overtime after previous losses. At the Woodland Hills shootout, we had a go-ahead basket scored by Asa Klimchuk and a game-saving charge by Xavier Lyons that sealed the victory against Bishop McDevitt. At the time, Bishop McDevitt was number 2 in 4A basketball in the state, and both boys finished the game with 20-plus points. It was a great performance by both boys. Probably our most exciting part of the season happened in a 4-game span. We defeated Scotland Sports Camp in overtime after being down 10 points with 2 minutes left in the game, and a huge game-tying 3-pointer by Xavier Lyons. We took that momentum to our game against First Left Christian, defeating them by 12. This was the first time we've beat this program since I've been here, and I think since they've been in existence. Then we had a decisive win over Western Reserve Academy and rounded out our 4-game span with rival Mercersburg, defeating them for the Centennial Cup. Though the season didn't end the way we wanted to, I am grateful and honored to have coached motivated young men who not only work hard on the court, but work very, very hard in the classroom. I leave our returning players with 2 quotes for next season. A dream doesn't come reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And then the last quote I will leave will say, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Keep moving, keep learning, keep growing. See you back on the court soon. Thank you. Coach Bowers, please join me up here. We have a few letters to give out this evening. Please hold your applause till everyone's up here. For our managers, Renford McKenzie. Come on. Come on. Is that Savion Jemison, is he here tonight? He was unable to get here tonight. Freshman Brent Jernigan. Stay up here, Renford, stay here. Colin Kwiatkowski. It's okay, come this way. Yeah, come this way. Come this way, please. Christopher Moncrief. They're going to come up this way. Priest Ryan. A.Y. Sundi. Mason Price. Stanford Xavier Lyons. Micah Tillman. Stephen Watson. Caden Blackwell. Jordan Bright. Brendan Crawford. Asa Klimchuk. Vasia Penta. Jesus Vela. Sorry, I forgot to get to him. Thank you. We also have a few awards to give out tonight. First up is one of our Coaches Awards. This young man's been here on this team for 3 years. Very hard worker, has some very, very funny jokes and impressions, but overall just a very, very well-rounded young man, and we're excited that we made him a captain this year along with Brendan Crawford, Micah Tillman. Welcome. Our next Coach's Award, he is a 4-year member of the varsity team. This summer started with him being named one of the captains going through our team camps, the 14 camps we did this summer. He demonstrated good leadership on the court with our young players as well in that process, and we're very happy and excited for his next steps to college, to play at the college level. Brendan Crawford, please step up. Our most valuable player, he is, sometimes I want to sit him down, sometimes I want to play him more, but it's obvious that when he's on the court, he does a lot for our team and our program. He averaged about 20 points a game and 8 assists a game this season, was named so-called all-tournament team at one of our tournaments at the Petty School. Asa Klimchuk, congratulations. I have one final award. We have a 4-year letterman on our program. Like I said, this young man, he's been part of this team for 4 years. Had a couple coaching changes as well in the process. I'm very happy I had a chance to work with him throughout the 3 years I've been here. Brendan Crawford, please come accept your award. With that being said, I'm going to call Brendan Crawford to give some remarks for this year's team. Thank you.
All right, good evening to you all. 4 years ago, I could have never imagined being up here today, speaking to you all. I can remember being a young freshman, sitting in the audience, listening to Harry Rain speak, thinking how far senior year was away and what it would be like. The journey was not an easy one, dealing with coaching changes, injuries, and much more, but we are finally here. Even though the season did not end how we would have liked to, I'm grateful for everything that happened. The season was a very memorable one, with a lot happening from me getting rim stuff at Latrobe, Mr. Bauer's sketchy driving, Micah's impression skills, and Xavier's game time 3 to lead us to an overtime win. I do not think any of us will ever forget this season. On a more serious note, a bond was made this year, stronger than any I may have ever experienced in my 4 years here. Through the wins and losses, arguments and celebrations, we were all brothers and had each one of each other's backs. I would like to thank all of the parents and fans who came to the games, no matter the distance, for their unconditional love and support. Without you guys, I do not know how we would have made it through the season. I would also like to thank Mr. Spawn and Ms. Muster, who the season may not have been possible without, and Mr. Halukta and our manager, Savion, for their work. You guys put in a lot of work outside. It did not go unnoticed. Lastly, I would like to end off with a quote from the philosopher Socrates, which states, "The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." To the underclassmen, remember the season, but not for too long. You guys are the future of this program, and before you know, next year's season will be here. Put in the work now so you can do something that hasn't been done in a while and bring home a state championship. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Coach Ross to the stage. Thank you.
I'd like all the wrestlers just to come on stage now, please. All right, thank you, Brendan, for that introduction. I'd like to thank the members of the faculty, administration, and athletic department, and especially you guys, the student body. Standing before you is the 2019 wrestling team. They have earned my respect, and therefore they have all earned varsity letters. Give them a hand. Honor, discipline, and respect. These words best described what Coach Gary and Ron, thank you, by the way, for the season that we've had. It's what we tried to instill in our wrestling program this year. As far as experience goes, this team fell far short of some of the teams I coached in the past. But when it came to spirit, a willingness to work hard, a strong desire to get better and to better oneself, this team exceeded our expectations. Honor. What is honor? What honor to me as a coach means that is to honor and acknowledge every member of this wrestling team. To that I mean it was Coach Gary's and my job to honor them by knowing what they may have had a bad day during the school academic hours that proceeded over to the athletic time and still came to practice and worked hard as they could for us, knowing that they may have to study for an important exam, or maybe they earned some dish hours that they probably felt they didn't deserve, but they still showed up. Respect. To me, respect. This was what our job was as wrestling coaches. We like to talk about a guy named Chris Pierce. Chris loves the outdoors. And at times, sometimes he needed to spend time in the woods. And sometimes it was on weekends. It was Coach Ron and my job to understand that this is what made Chris who he is. And we had to respect that fact. But he also liked to wrestle. He loved to wrestle. There were times that I would ask Chris about his wrestling, his hunting trip, and he would just perk up, and I could see him just eager to tell me that he got a buck, he got a doe, or whatever it may have been. Actually, I was just trying to get some free venison, but it worked. I got some. His parents would tell me things, how Chris would light up when he talked about the wrestling program and how he enjoyed his kiski. And through that offering of meat or venison that Chris gave me, I took that to mean that Chris found a mentor that would help make his stay more tolerable and enjoyable. Excuse me. Chris was proud to offer this to me. And he found a coach that found Chris an interesting person. Or we could take other members of my wrestling team, like Hunter Bounds, Griffin Donahue, David and Ellen Diaz. They would either play in a band or they had parts in a play, and some needed a little extra help in doing so. They would show up late for practice. And believe me, I heard them play and they needed the band practice. So I let them do that. So you can thank me for that later, right? I'm sorry, guys. We also had a member of the 2019 Naval Academy class who just wanted to work hard, have a better understanding about team unity before he was going to go on and serve our country as an officer in America's Great Navy, which I thought was awesome. We have members of the Kiski lacrosse, football, track, and baseball team that wrestled for us this year. We have members of the NFL. We have members who just had a lot of homework and sometimes need a little extra time to study, and I would permit them to do that. Respect is what Ron and I come up with was, in order to get respect, you have to first give respect. I'm talking about adults, and I'm talking about the student body. I remember seeing Eli Baumbach for the first time. When I first observed Eli, he was walking, I think, believe it was from McClintock. He was wearing a Tupac Shakur shirt, and he wasn't so very happy to be here. So I made it a point to introduce myself to this young man. To break the ice, I started calling him Tupac, right? I don't know if you liked it or not, but it did, we sort of hit it off. Eli never wrestled before, but he wanted to try wrestling at Kiski. One practice, Ron and I decided that we were going to work the kids out at a true wrestling practice. It was painful. The guys were sore. They were sweating. Some even passed a little gas. They were working so hard. They got to the point where they couldn't execute another move or take another step. That's when we really kicked into our gear. Back and forth they ran, crying and cramping and staggering along the way. I really believe that during this run that they were conspiring to see who was going to get Coach and I, talking about Ron here, to stop blowing that cursed whistle. Apparently, Eli drew the short straw. So as he ran past me, he uttered the words, "This is stupid." All right. He sort of brushed up against me. I'm sure it was probably an accident. I simply responded with the appropriate voice that warned for this situation, something to the effect of, "Please, young Eli, I understand that you're tired, you're sweaty, full of gas, but it is in your best interest to continue forthwith to the nearest wall and stay there and wait until another whistle blows so that you can proceed over to the next wall and continue practicing." To my surprise, everybody started running. They finished the workout, and after practice, Eli approached me to apologize for his behavior. My response was something like this: a wrestler has to be angry. A wrestler has to understand that whether he is on the mat, in the classroom, or in the business world, that he, in most cases, is one-on-one and sometimes physically all alone. That he must bring the fire, but he has to control the flame. He must learn that he must work through hardships and learn to figure some things out for himself. And that if he can't, sometimes that if he can, he can even sometimes control his own destiny if he worked hard enough. But he must also understand that if in his eyes he's failed, that there's a kind shoulder of a coach's shoulder in his corner waiting for him, or there's a parent or a teacher on this Kiski School faculty that understands that this child needs a helping hand in pushing forward. See, a lot of our kids on this campus don't seem to understand why they were chosen to participate in the student body of Kiski. You know, it's hard, it's tough, and we as faculty understand that. But you have to understand that in order to go through the fire, in order to become gold, you have to understand the intensity of what you have to go through, and that's important. Several members of our team came to practice just to hang out with Alan because he made it to the national tournament. He's a sophomore, and I think that's noteworthy. Which brings me to my last point, discipline. What is discipline? When you have discipline, it means that you have self-control. It means that as a wrestler, you have to control your eating habits, meaning that you must eat what you need and not what you want. It means that you are willing to perform the same move over and over again just because the move may come in handy someday or catch your opponent by surprise. It's the joy I see in a wrestler's eyes, that sparkle, that light, his whole face up when his coach gives him his nod of approval that he's executed something properly, letting him know that he's doing a good job. And it is that wrestler who earnestly shares his newly found skill with one of his teammates, hoping that this move will also help that teammate last just an additional minute on the map. You see, being a wrestler at Kiski means that even if you're an elite wrestler, that most of your teammates are swimming in an ocean full of hungry sharks that wants nothing more than to get you on the wrestling mat, inflict as much legal pain, and manipulate and twist your body in ways that you never thought possible, and to finally pin you or let the clock run out, sparing you further pain. It is that discipline or by habit that causes you to stand after that defeat, watch the other opponent's hand be raised, and congratulate him on a nice match. It is here that you have earned your opponent's respect because you didn't quit. Discipline is knowing that 90% of your matches will go this way, having the desire to go through something, sometimes hell, just to gain an extra minute on the mat is a wrestler unlike Antonio, not unlike Antonio, who never wrestled before, but during flex period. I don't know what flex period is, but I know what he's done. I know during that time he would run the steps in the field house just to get better. This is one reason that we decided, along with the administration here at Kiski, to let Antonio, with a few of Ellen's friends, go on to the national tournament. Antonio didn't, how would I say this? Okay. Antonio didn't qualify, but I just got a kick out of watching him peer through the iron pipe railing that surrounded the balcony at the Stable Arena. His head would twitch and contort, working to gain a better perspective on a move that a more experienced wrestler did. I could almost hear his mind as he would I could almost hear it say, like, I want to go to nationals next year. Or he was probably saying, I'm hungry. Because he ate to the point where I think he's weighed in at 112 or 113.5. At national, he weighed 128 pounds. So he was eating. Everybody in his wrestling team got strong. Everybody in his wrestling team got faster. And everybody on the wrestling team walked away with a sense of pride. And yes, with discipline with the discipline that they exhibited and the respect that they showed for one another. It is my honor to be associated and to coach the 2019 Kiski wrestling team. Oh, and by the way, we did beat Western Reserve after they beat us earlier in the year. So people, I'd like to present to you the 2019 wrestling team. you'll get your awards a little later because in the interest of speed. Okay, we'll give that stuff to you later. But the special awards are going to go to MVP is going to be Alan Diaz. Caleb, thank you. Caleb Commandment, is that right? Is that how you say it? Is my Rookie of the Year. Give him a hand. And Griffin and David Diaz earned the Coaches Award. Thank you again. And David's going to speak a few words. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my fault. Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Coach Ross and Coach Gay for taking time out of their days to work with us for 2 hours in the wrestling room, and Ms. Ross for coming to all of our events and recording our matches in the scorebook. I'd also like to thank all the parents and friends of our team who came to support us at each event. When I look at these wrestlers, I believe that they have gained 3 things from the season: honor, respect, and discipline. I see men who are willing to put their heart into whatever it is, whether it's in the wrestling room, on the baseball field, or even in the band room. These guys have given their blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish their goals. Each day we came into the wrestling room, we worked to get 1% better. Watching these guys work alongside of me in the toughest sport in the world made me feel like I wasn't alone. Watching them wheeze after a 20-minute long fire drill, or seeing the beads of sweat hit the mat as we all push for that last push-up gave me hope for the future of this team. I hope that next year, when I'm gone, you all continue to strive for that 1% every day. Don't ever quit, because I promise you, the feeling of winning a match is one of the greatest feelings you'll ever feel. I'd like to finish off with a quote from Dan Gable, former University of Iowa wrestling coach. "Pain is nothing compared to what it feels like to quit. Give everything you got today, for tomorrow may never come." Whenever you guys have those rough days, just remember not to quit, because it'll be worth it in the end. Thank you all for making my last high school wrestling season one to remember. I'd like to introduce Coach Sunday to the stage.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the end of another long winter season. This one was a little bit different for me. I've been here 10 years, and I've actually never had an undefeated dual meet record until this season. It would be a little more satisfying if we didn't have quite so many cancellations due to blizzards, polar vortexes, you know, regular PA weather. Swimming is a long season, and it can be a really mentally challenging one. Usually meets are there to break up the season, to provide that feedback, to give the swimmers some incentive, some feedback to saying, okay, you know, maybe you didn't get your personal record, but your turns were faster. You know, you really pushed that second half of the race just a little bit harder. And in the face of, you know, your coach coming in and saying, yeah, that meet that was pushed back because of a blizzard, it got canceled because it was too cold. In the face of that, you know, disappointment, you guys kept up the effort. You kept working. You kept putting in the yards. And I really have to hand it to my swimmers this year. They really kept up a really strong mental fortitude. You know, and they kept improving. Every day when we came in here and we started writing yards upon yards on the board, you guys went in, you did them. We did have some highlights to our season, even brief as it was. The IPSL win, the entire team came together. You guys really swam great as an entire team. You put up good times, and you came back with a victory that meet. Our Eastern team. Easterns is one of the most competitive meets on the East Coast, and the swimmers that went there went ahead, put forth some really impressive times. Both of the relays that they competed were fast enough to actually come back, competed in the finals of each event. And finally, of course, our final meet got canceled because of weather once again, but I would say a highlight for at least some of those guys was finally beating all the JV guys in our little inter-squad meet. To all my swimmers, good job this season. Again, really keeping up that effort in the face of so few meets is an impressive feat in itself. To my seniors, you guys have been with me for, most of you, for quite some time. You guys have, contributed so much throughout the years. I would thank each one of you, but I think you're at least half the team. You guys are gonna be really hard to replace. And to the juniors, time to step it up next year. Finally, I would like to thank Jason Jennings, my assistant coach. Every time that, he mentored a kid, every time he was able to, cover for me when my infant was sick, I really appreciate all the hard work you put in this season. So, without further ado, if you could come up, varsity letters winners of this season. Christopher Bonham. Bryant Garcia. Garris Kohut. Corbin Kohut. Edgar Mercado. Oh, nice catch. Yeah. Horan Mo. Dylan Pettis. Ryan Pettis. Dan Ridden, Caleb Rulo, Rambo Shi, Alex Stewart, Luca Venditti, Tony Wang, Aaron Zhao, Peter Zhao, gentlemen, your varsity swimming team of the season. We have a couple final superlatives. This season, the swimmer who contributed most to our success through simple points earned, our newcomer and one of our juniors. We're looking forward to good things next year, Caleb Rulo. This next winner is the Coaches Award. So it's pretty easy to, put in that effort to keep coming into all the morning practices even, day in and day out when you're achieving a lot of success. This particular swimmer had some setbacks this year. At least at first he wasn't swimming like he wanted to, but he kept coming in, kept, attacking each and every set. He kept up the hard work, and he ended the season really much closer to where he wanted to be. The Coaches Award this year, Chris Bonham. So this next award, we had a couple swimmers who didn't quite qualify for varsity letters. We had, again, just with so few meets, we just didn't have enough competition. But this guy, he joined the swim team, and he wasn't a natural aquatic athlete. But he kept coming in. He came into more morning practices than a lot of the varsity swimmers. And he kept improving day in, day out. The most improved this year goes to Michael Stegman. And finally, even though we have so many seniors this year, there's only one that has actually competed with us all 4 years. He's one of our co-captains. We're really going to miss him next year, Peter Zhao. Finally, I'd like to welcome to the stage Horace Moe, our other co-captain, to give a little speech. Gentlemen, you may return to your seats.
Hello everyone, good evening. First of all, I want to start with congratulating basketball and the wrestling team on their success this winter. I also want to thank our manager and Mr. Yi for always keeping our team healthy this year. I appreciate all the support from the families, my peers, and the faculty members for our swimming team. Now I want to thank Coach Sunday and Coach Jennings for their hard work and dedication to the team this year. The swim team wrapped up very strongly this season, and it was the best one I've ever had in my 3 years. Comparing to the last 2 seasons, this was the year that the team won the most meets. We beat WRNA, Lindsley, and Derry. All the winnings stimulated the whole team to always stay as a united, competitive, and emulative family. This attitude led us to peak time. After 17 years, we brought the IPSL Championship trophy back to our school again. In WCCA Swimming Championship, our 200 yards freestyle relay placed 6th, which allowing us to receive medals. It was all about the team effort and teamwork. Another big congratulations on the swimmers who went to the Easterns. All of you guys reached the best individual time for the season. Besides, I was proud that 2 relays were made to the second heat of finals. The team consisted of a majority of veterans, most notable seniors Peter Zhao and Aaron Zhao, the only 4-year swimmers on the team. But the new blood we had this year, such as Caleb Rulo, Chris Bonham, and Tony Wang, infused the team with their aspiration and ambition. I also admire the spirit displayed by junior Gareth Kohut, who had a scary arm injury last year, but always tried his best to come back to the practice as often as he could. He dived into the pool normally and made efforts to improve his swimming skills. He was a strong motivation on our team, encouraging both veterans and new swimmers to keep working hard. Without a doubt, swimming is a tough sport. The practice is monotonous and the pool is always the same. I know it's hard for all of us to soak in the cold water for nearly 2 hours every day, but that's how Olympic swimmers will tell you about the hardest part of swimming. You just have to endure it and stay with it. Swimming is not only a competitive sport, but it also develops our fortitude mentally and physically. This is the charm of the swimming and for all the sports, as we are always challenging ourselves. I also learned lessons from my teammates. Do not be late for practice, do not skip the practice, and do not sleep over in the morning. You guys know what I'm talking about. My whole swimming career at the Kiski School just ended, but I have no regrets. It was my honor and pleasure to be a member of this amazing swim team. You guys are energetic, fantastic, and adorable. I hope other swimmers will keep fighting. Kohut twins, Alex, Kobe, and the Pettis brothers. I'm looking forward to watching your YouTube swimming videos next year. Mr. Sunday needs you, and I think you guys all have a promising and bright future. Again, thank you guys for the memories. It's time for life to begin. Thank you. Now, please introduce Mr. Spong to the stage.
All right, a couple quick thank yous. I want to thank Mr. Novum for all of his help this year, coaching and behind the scenes, things like that. School, are you paying attention? Thank you. All right. Wife and children for all their help. Also want to thank Darcy for his managerial skills and keeping pucks and water bottles and everything else in order. Rosie, you're pushing it, dropping a phone already. Also want to thank all the parents and families, students and faculty who came to the games, especially yesterday. It was really nice. It was a really good year. The kids battled through injuries, never complained. The team that we thought we were going to start off with this year wasn't the team we ended with yesterday. Had quite a few guys that were injured, but the kids battled through. We finished 15-4-1. It's a record they should be really proud of. A couple highlights of the year. We finished third at the St. Andrews tournament in Canada, which is a really good tournament, really competitive. Last year we finished 7th. 2 years ago we finished second, so it was really good this year. First in the Academy of the New Church tournament for the 4th straight year. We won the Midwest Rock and Roll Classic for the 3rd straight year, and then won our league championship yesterday for the 4th straight year. The great thing about this team, I think, it's comprised of kids who are talented golfers, talented baseball players, lacrosse players, kids that play many sports, and hockey might not be their first love, but the kids played really hard, listened, and competed hard and wanted to win. I'm going to announce all the letter winners now, and if you could just hold your applause till afterwards, that would be great. Our first one is Dylan Brzezinski, a junior. He is our biggest fake Patriots fan on the team, but we still love him. We don't have to clap for him right now. All right. Secondly, coming up, Ben Crew, 4-year goaltender for us. Also plays baseball, also known as the head prefect once in a while as well. Ben Crew. Nick Darrington had 2 big goals last night in the championship game. Came back from a broken wrist last year. I believe those are the first 2 goals he scored all season for us, but they were 2 big goals. Well, this next one, Nick DeLauro. Nick is a freshman. And for those of you who are hockey fans, remember a guy named Paul Coffey, more in my time. Paul Coffey was more like a 4th forward on the ice and never really believed in playing defense. And yes, he's a Hall of Famer, as Nick will point out, but we really only had, 3 or 4 defensemen most of the year, and a lot of times just kind of 2 lines with injuries. And Nick still loved to rush the puck many times, and that often created 2-on-1s for our goalies and for Stewie and Solaris playing with him. So that's Nick DeLauro, Paul Coffey. Nicholas Fausto came to us this year, freshman, played hard, got better as the year went on. He's making his way up here now. Always had his inhaler with him in case things went bad. Sometimes he forgot the inhaler on the bench. We had to get it for him. Oh, then we have Ben Foster, who's not in dress code tonight, faking an injury. Ben had a really good year for us. Ben got hurt last Tuesday against Lindsley. Had a really good year for us. A lot of goals, assists, penalty killing, played really well. We missed him obviously yesterday, but it was good he could get out. Billy Gillis, another goalie, 4 years with us, probably our strongest guy on the team. Got very mad against Lindsley on Tuesday, and some Lindsley kids are very afraid of him out there. Another goalie, Patrick Jacob, 3rd year, very good golfer. Mr. Asadi worries every time a puck goes off of his body in case his golf game gets in trouble. Chris Kendall, freshman, played really hard for his year, hard-working kid. Scored a goal and kept the puck. Remember that? He asked the referee for the puck and he got it. And then we have Jacob Rosa, who kind of plays like a soft flower, like a butterfly out there, not very physical, shies away from contact. Had, I think, 3 goals in our first game yesterday and a goal and an assist in the championship game. The other Rosa is more the physical guy, takes care of his brother. Unfortunately, likes to jump in. Everything his brother's being, picked on. We saw that. Very strong, strapping man coming up here. An enforcer. Good to see you. Like your tie.
Thank you.
And then we have our one person wearing a blue shirt tonight. Ian Russ is not in proper dress code, we'll still call him up. Ian battled through injuries, all serious. Had a great goal against Lindsley. He was very happy to score their, I think it was the second goal. Yeah. Right, congratulations. Ian played well for us this year and was a big help. Yep, here he is, Bryce. Bryce really did improve over the year, and he really is a hardworking kid. But unfortunately, one of Bryce's highlights was that we couldn't get Bryce up for the Gilmore game. But school protocol, we made sure he was okay. He was in his room, but we had to leave. And then all of a sudden, after the second period, I see Bryce's dad at the game in Ohio, waiting and asking me where Bryce is, because Bryce didn't bother to call his dad and tell him he didn't make it in time for the school vans to leave. And then here we have this guy here. Probably heard he was 20 years old almost every game this year. He's only 9. He just turned 19, correct? We're talking to you. Yeah, we were talking to you with the crazy. All right. So Nathan's a defenseman for us. Has played 2 years. Nathan Solaris, you can come on up, please. He had some fun last night. Fans were talking to him and enjoying his hockey ability. This person here has put me on blood pressure medicine. It's probably stronger than what I've had. Between me and Coach Novum, telling him, begging, yelling at him to stay out of the box, I think he went 4 games straight with no penalties when he knew we were like down to about 8 guys playing. But had a nice assist last night on the 3rd goal that kind of put things away for us. Noah Schooley, who also played injured. He's a very tough young man. Oh, he's limping, just to kind of add to that. That's good, add to the limping. JP Swazi, 3rd year with us. I believe he had more goals than DeLauro this year, and I was very happy. Everybody's very happy about that. Probably took about 1/10 of the shots. Good job, JP. And last but not least, Stewie, 4 years, defenseman for us, has played really well, became a little more offensive this year, and probably had the biggest check of his life this year, his senior year. That's right. Remember that one?
I do.
All right. I do. So these are our guys this year, 2018-19 team. So I've got a couple awards to give out. So most improved, like I said earlier, this guy came to practice every day, worked hard. He got hurt his knee against Western Reserve in our season finale, home finale, and worked hard to get back. And he was crushed that he was hurt. But I look forward to seeing his progress for the next 3 years. Chris Kendall's our most improved. All right, Coach's Award. So I admit it, I am partial to goaltenders. I played goalie in college and growing up in prep school, so I like goalies to get awards because they're the backbone of a team, in my opinion. But Patrick, it's his 2nd year, kind of back-to-back, getting Coach's Awards. Patrick's very talented. We have 3 really talented goalies. But during the games he's not playing, Patrick is cheering on, encouraging guys, but also in practices. It's tough to kind of not know you're playing every game, but go to practice and play hard so you guys have, good goalies and tough competition. And Patrick's been great the last 3 years. I'm looking forward to watching him next year playing a ton more games. But Patrick Jacobs, our Coach's Award winner this year. All right, so we have 3 4-year letter winners, okay? And a couple of neat stats. I'm not a big math guy, but a couple stats I dug up. So we have Billy Gillis, Ben Crew, and Jason Stewart. You guys can step forward. Okay, so these guys have played all 4 years for us. So we have 2 goalies. You can go to the middle more if you want. Crew, come to the middle. Let's make it nice in the middle. There we go. So we have 2 goalies and a defenseman. So I mean, the great thing in hockey is you can get outshot 53 to say 14 and win, which would happen this year. We'd be the number 5 team in Ohio, and we get outshot 53-14 because we have really good goalies. Other games, I think the next game in that tournament, we got outshot 33-18 and won 3-0. Billy had the 53 saves, Crew had the 33 saves in the shutout. And then Stewie actually got a concussion in that tournament, so we really missed him after that. But Stewie's a really good defender, blocks shots for us, and pretty much his defense first. So you need guys like this to be successful. So these guys in their 4 years have a record of 64, 11, and 3. Which is, it's pretty amazing. 64, 11, and 3. which is a winning percentage of 75%. It means they win 3 out of every 4 games they play, which I think is pretty impressive, okay? They're good guys. They're easy guys to coach. You know, and we say it, and this is not, you know, it's, you want kids who are mentally strong and physically strong. And these guys were. I mean, this is a team that really could have kind of cried and complained about when things didn't go well or injuries or get behind. But, you know, I never heard it. Maybe Coach Novum did, but never complained, never yelled at guys. You know, it was everybody kind of together. And that's an easy team to coach, in my opinion. It makes it fun to go with them. But also, you know that they're together and they mentally can handle what's in front of them. And these guys are 3 big reasons. I mean, you know, if you have a good goalie and a good defenseman, you're always in the game. So these are our 3 4-year letter award winners, Billy Gillis, Ben Crew, and Jason Stewart. All right, so Billy Gillis is going to say a couple words for us as one of our captains. You guys are going to go down. Just announce me back up, so I got to come back up.
Hello, and thank you all for showing up tonight. First, I would like to call up the seniors on the 2019 hockey team. I would like to start by thanking a few people. I would like to thank Mr. Halupka and Ms. Muster for their work in the Athletic Center, Mr. E for keeping our team as healthy as possible, our coaches, as well as Mr. K and even Mr. Price bringing us to practice sometimes. When I first was tasked to write this speech, I wasn't sure how I wanted to start it. But I wanted to start it exactly how hockey started, with a van ride. For those of you who don't know, we take a van to and from practice, day in, day out. These rides are no longer than a half hour, but the bond it brings between the team lasts an eternity. On the ride to practice, it is usual to see Coach Spahn interrogating members of the team and gazing back at them through the front mirror. This is purely for his and others' entertainment, at least I think. We chat, we laugh, and we sing along to music when it's kept on, and even see an occasional car crash. The van stories are endless, but just as in Vegas, what happens there stays there. But that's just the beginning of our ride. Now what all of you are here for, the sports, hockey. After the ride to the rink, it is time for practice or games. As you look around the locker room, you see everybody getting prepared in their own ways. Some dance, some listen to music, others talk, and some slick their hair back with a lot of water. But when it is time to hit the ice, all of these individuals become a team, and they are ready to take on any battle ahead of them. We have had our fair share of injuries this year, and have always had less men than our opponent. But for what we lacked in size, we always made up with heart. We knew what we had to work with, did not complain, and did our job. And a really good one, as you can see. I want to thank all of my teammates for that, but that was just a stop on our ride. Lastly, the ride home. It is the usual time for players to talk about their amazing goals in which they scored in practice. The players will come up to the goalies they scored on and tell them about them. The goalies will always answer back, "Dude, it doesn't even matter. It was only practice." Meanwhile, this really does get to us. I guess what I'm getting at is whether it is the beginning, middle, or end of a practice, a game, or a season, or a van ride, there will always be a story to tell. I'm glad that each of you were able to add a chapter to my story, or better yet, our story. To my guys next year, good luck. And for my fellow seniors, this was our last ride. Thank you. At this time, I would like to announce Coach Spahn and Coach Novum back to the stage, please.
That's awesome. Thanks.
And don't worry, school has something extra for you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, John Lombardo, the cat. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I usually don't make remarks at these sports awards program, mainly not because I don't have anything to say, but because by the time we get to the end, everyone's looking very hungry and eager to go out to the lobby and dig into the cakes with your faces on them. That'll happen shortly. I'll be brief, but I did want to say that first, congratulations to everybody on a fantastic winter sports season. And we always say this, but it's true, that the results, the wins and the losses, trying to measure a season for any particular team quantitatively, and all of the great awards and the bling we have up here is fantastic. It's nice. It really is. But what's more important is the way you play. And I've been here for 17 years as the headmaster, so I've gotten to know a lot of the refs for the different sports, and they regularly come up to me after the games and say what a pleasure it is to ref Kiski games because of the way all of you behave. And I know that this season in particular, there have been a lot of stories of people on different teams and teams being taunted and heckled and in some cases physically assaulted, and in every case you behaved as gentlemen and upheld the great standards that distinguish our athletic program of sportsmanship and fair play, and that makes us very, very proud. So I was thinking, what would be an appropriate reward for what? For a great winter sports season. And we have some things on the schedule on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but I forgot what I was going to say. And I'll leave it to you to share this news with your classmates and friends, but this Thursday, in honor of a great winter sports season, we'll have a free day. So congratulations again to all of you, and we have some refreshments for you in the lobby. Have a good evening.